It's time for religious bullshit. And got plenty of religious bullshit to cover this week for you guys, because we didn't do it on the last show. So first off, you might remember this video from 7 years ago. Fight Church! Remember Fight Church? Where a bunch of Christians are like, hey, let's punch each other in the face for Jesus. And John Jones, his dumbass, putting his face on this. So the first guy we're going to see in this video is Paul Burris. As we watch this video, which is cringe as shit on its own, keep in mind that Paul Burris pled guilty to sexual abuse. Yeah, the whole thing. Founder of controversial Fight Church pleads guilty to sexual abuse of a child. Both he and his father both pled guilty to sexual abuse. But first, before we get there, folks, let's watch this amazing video of the Fight Church.
As Christians, there are times where you take shots.
That guy pleaded guilty to sexual abuse of a minor. Who is shocked? Raise your hand. Nobody's raising their hands. All right, sorry.
There are times where you take shots. That's where the Bible gives you your training. I get all the time, I don't look like the typical pastor, and that's okay. There's actually a cool verse in the Bible that says, be wary when all men speak well of you. If everybody loves you, you're doing something wrong.
People hate me because I molested children. I'm awesome.
God, you have called us to a fight.
When Preston came up with the idea of having a fight club in the church, it was an easy thing to say yes to. Tough guys need Jesus too.
You guys like to see me fight another pastor? We'll just be a couple of God-fearing men punching each other in the face.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Pastor versus Pastor.
Tonight, we got to fight. And then we'll talk about Jesus tomorrow when we go to church.
The tradition of which I'm a part is that we love one another. And this ain't love.
At the end of the day, it's about reaching people with the gospel, regardless of what you do, to introduce them into a relationship with Jesus Christ.
Punch to the face. Now go for the choke right there.
I carry my faith inside the cage with me.
I probably wouldn't be in the position I am today if I wasn't a Christian.
This is a battlefield. We need to charge them, not wait for them to come to us.
Mainstream Christianity has feminized men.
If we would raise our boys to be men, these kind of problems go away.
As I progress in my Christian life, I start to see a conflict there.
Cage fighting does not speak about loving one another. Cage fighting is about hating one another, basically.
God said, don't be afraid. Don't be discouraged, because I'm your God and I'll be with you wherever you go, right?
Lucas, get your hands up!
Listen, finishing strong doesn't mean we win every battle.
Jesus never quit. Jesus never tapped out. He finished what he came to do.
If you really want the enemy off your trail, you gotta learn to put your foot on his neck. Somebody shout Jesus.
Can you love your neighbor as yourself and then at the same time knee him in the face as hard as you can?
Yeah, so that exists. That all makes sense. Cool. Clearly that has nothing to do with Jesus or God or anything. It's just a bunch of idiots that want to punch themselves in the fucking face and feel like they're doing it for a good reason. But back in 2014, a documentary film came out all about Victory Church in Rochester, New York. The movie was called Fight Church because a pastor named Paul Burris was teaching members of Victory how to beat the shit out of each other in the name of Jesus. It led to all kinds of articles pointing out the obvious hypocrisy of a Christian church promoting violence even in sport, given the whole turn the other cheek advice of Jesus. It wasn't long, however, before allegations of sexual abuse came out against Paul Burris. Former church members claim Burris acted inappropriately and that both he and executive pastor Dr. Al Ogden demanded silence about these accusations. They even threatened to publicize the accuser's sins revealed to the men during private counseling sessions. Of course they did. Pure fucking evil. Where you at, QAnon? We have child pedophile rings all over the place, right out in the open. Why don't you care? In 2018, Burris pled guilty to third-degree sexual abuse and served a year of probation, of course, as part of a plea deal. Somehow, this story has only gotten worse in multiple ways. Joe Burris, Paul's 71-year-old father, and the man who founded Victory Church, has now also pled guilty to his own charge of second-degree sexual abuse. Court documents cited in recent WHAM report say 2 teenagers accused Joe Burris of sexually abusing them in separate incidents while they were under the age of 14. Joe Burris is scheduled to be sentenced on September 2nd in Pittsford Town Court, but will remain out of custody on his own recognizance until the hearing. Shocker! Who's surprised? Nobody surprised. God damn it. Why do you Christians keep taking your children to these pedophiles? At some point, it's got to be like almost child abuse, right? And this is a story I didn't get to last week. World Series MVP Ben Zobrist, who is a human I've heard about before. So apparently he married poorly, and his wife cheating like a motherfucker on him with their pastor. But it gets worse. This cold-blooded motherfucker, this pastor, conned this dude into letting him run a charity where he's literally paying the guy who's banging his wife. Good God, y'all. If you were from Chicago, then Ben Zobrist is arguably best known as the Cubs player whose clutch hits helped bring the team its first World Series trophy in over a century back in 2016. Zobrist was named the World Series MVP that year as well. Before he retired in 2020, though, Zobrist regularly spoke about his faith, organizing Bible studies and appearing at Christian events. That's why it came as such a surprise a couple weeks ago when he filed a public multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the pastor who had been counseling him and his wife for reasons that were shocking. Once again, not shocking. The complaint alleges Byron Yawn, a Nashville businessman and former pastor of Community Bible Church, was offered pastoral care and friendship to the former Major League Baseball player while having an affair with Zobrist's wife. Yawn also served as director of Zobrist charity. Cold-blooded. You a cold-hearted snake. Look into his eyes. Uh-oh, he been telling lies. By his actions, Zobrist alleged Yawn breached his fiduciary duty towards the plaintiff, as well as his duty of confidentiality and trust that existed by virtue of his pastoral relationship with the plaintiff. The complaint also alleges Yawn proposed a budget for Zobrist charity that would pay him $36,000 a year and used his role at the charity to spend time with Zobrist's wife. Oh my God. Dude just has no soul. Let's see what this guy looks like. This guy begging your wife, dude. Man, that's gotta sting. Shh. Just goes to show you could be like a world famous athlete, rich as shit, but you still gonna get cheated on if you choose the wrong woman. And can't trust anybody, especially pastors. Like 98% of them are con men anyway. So a little bit on you, letting your wife hang out with a con man. What did you expect was gonna happen? You dumbass.